All right, guys. So we're going to talk about how I lied to you guys. Okay? So I told you there's two ways that bass eat, but there's actually a couple different ways. There's a few more ways other than the two ways that I initially thought. I needed to really think about it, go through my tackle, and actually process, okay, this is how I caught them throughout the years of bass fishing since 2007 and when I was a little kid when I was doing bass fishing. But I don't count those years just because I wasn't in it competitively. I started in 2007 in Santa Rosa. That's my background. So yeah, the second way, which I want to bring up a third way, but now I'll leave that for the next episode. The second way is horizontal. Horizontal actions that provoke bass to rise up and just slam that bait and just eat it. The first, if you didn't watch my first episode of how bass eat or react to baits, go check that one out. I'll put the link in the description. But we're going to be talking about horizontal actions and how bass respond to those horizontal actions. Okay, so previous episode we talked about the drop. Today we're talking about the horizontal. So the thing about these tactics when we're on the water, if you want to chase those fish on the bottom that rise up and just slam baits, which is probably my I gotta say is probably my first technique that I like fishing. And then if that doesn't work, or if I'm getting tons of followers using my electronics, if I'm getting tons of followers using those horizontal baits to get bass to react, if they're not reacting, which is the final outcome I want is them to actually commit to the bait. If they're not committing to the bait, then I resort to the drop. Okay, guys. But I do not. If I'm going into a tournament and I'm dialed in on the drop, then I'll start with the drop. But if I get dialed in with a horizontal presentation, I'd rather be doing that. And let me show you a few of my baits that I'm super comfortable with, that gave me a lot of confidence in suspending bass and bass on the bottom that will shoot up and eat your bait. These are my confidence baits. This is what I started out with. This is what cashed me checks. Let me show you right now. Let's start out with the basics, okay? Let's start out with the basics. And I've preached this so much when I got 2 back-to-back KBF Pro Series wins, and a second ABA, and I believe a first for ABA, San Vicente and the Delta. And the KBF Pro Series, I did second at the Delta. Well, this doesn't matter, okay? But first one that I gained a lot of confidence with is the underspin. This underspin right here with a 3.3 inch Kayak killed it for me. So if you see on your live scup, you're seeing schools of fish. I like to throw the underspin when there's more competition around. Okay? So when you see 3 or 4 bass on the graph, or 20 of them, and they're all chasing shad, and the shad spawn went off, this is the bait I pick up, and especially if they're moving fast. This one usually comes in heavier, or you could order it heavier. I'll throw a quarter or 3/8 ounce or half ounce. and get to that school when that school's running away. So this is one of those horizontal natural baits that go through the water. You could still mid-stroll it and kind of jig it, and it'll still have that more action to it, and I do that sometimes. So the school will be in like suspended 40 feet, a cast out there. Never let it get below their heads with this underspin, and I'll just shake it as much as I can right on top of their head while reeling. And I'm not going slow. I'm going fast with this underspin. So that's one of my horizontal confidence baits. Let me show you another one. All right. This year I cashed over $3,000 in a tournament. I was competing against 100, almost 200 anglers at Clear Lake. Crush City Mooch Minnow. Pair that up with a CMF head or a Kayak ball head jig with a vertical tie, or even a Bass Union head, and go with an 1/8 or 3/16 of an ounce, and use your electronics. This little thing with that roll motion, that roll action, and you keep it on top of them, that's another natural reaction. That little shimmy that this bait has, you could dial those bass in. You can get them to eat this, especially the small stuff. They can't, some of the times they'll come up to it and then they'll swim away. If it's one of those days, I'll go with the drop. But if it's a shimmy day, good luck. Good luck catching up. The competition. Good luck to the competition. If you are dialed in with the shimmy on top of their heads, this is going to crack them. I'll tell you what, Crush City baits make awesome baits. So this is my second confidence bait, especially this year. I've grown so much confidence in it. Ball head jig, 1/8 ounce, 3/16 ounce. Use your electronics and start shimmying it, strolling, but keeping it right above their heads, not raising up the bait too fast. Keep that bait horizontal over their heads. And maybe if you can't trigger them as much, if you can't get them to bite, raise it up a little bit of hair. Once they chase a little bit, raise it up a little bit. Chase again, raise it up a little bit. Crush City baits. All right. Another one that I'm confident with is the freeloader. So when the shad are huge, when they're like 4, 5, 6-inch shad, throw this sucker. Or if I wouldn't say like you're gonna catch a bigger bite with the freeloader. I don't think going from a 2.8 or 3-inch to a 4-inch is gonna give you that much more size. I really don't believe that. However, this gives a different action and bigger profile. So maybe I think the biggest thing about it is find out what kind of bait, what the bait size is inside the lake. Use your eyes in the waters. Check out the shad spawn. See how big they are. See what the bass are coughing out and replicate that. Okay? So this is the freeloader by Crush City. Also, another great bait. I throw 1/8 ounce. And I'll throw 3/16 ounce. Majority of the time with these baits right here, I'm throwing 1/8 ounce. Okay, guys? 1/8 ounce. The time that they're deeper and they're in groups, I'll throw the 3/8 ounce underspin, okay? With the 3.3 Kayak. I might change it up though. I might change it up. I might put a freeloader on there. You just never know. I might even put a Mooch Minnow on there. Another bait to keep on the lookout for that horizontal action. Scrounger head with freeloader. Dustin Cornell just won the Red Crest. So watch out. And you could do it without your electronics, but you gotta be dialed with the lake that you're headed to, or you have to be really good at traditional fishing. Figure out where the current breaks are, find where the eddies are, and that way you'll figure out, where are the actively feeding fish. Where's the bait fish? You can even use your 2D. If all you have is 2D and you see bait fish everywhere, and there's a current break, maybe scrounge your head, freeloader. Let me see. Oh, third bait that I have awesome confidence with is a jerkbait. And there's only 2 jerkbaits I use. The Megabass 110, the Megabass 110 Junior in different depths, and the 6 Sense Provoke sinking. And I'll go down, sometimes I'll go down to 8-pound test, 10-pound test, sometimes 15-pound tests. It depends. For me, really, it depends where the bass are. If the bass are deep, or if the bass are moving in wolf packs, and the water is super clear, then I might go like an 8 to 10. If they're shallow and it's a cloudy day and they're above trees and tree lines and grass edges, maybe I'll throw like 12 to 15-pound test with the 3-foot leader or 6-foot leader with 20-pound braid or something like that. But yeah, those are my go-to. This is another horizontal action. So instead of that natural movement, underspins, it's going to give you that natural swimming movement. So it's going to go like this. You could display some sort of like shimmy action with it as it goes across the column. But this is your more natural movement, natural shad moving across the water column, right? Horizontal, natural presentation, okay? Sorry for the phone. Right here, the jerkbait. It's very unnatural. It's sort of like a chatterbait. It doesn't hunt, but it slashes. So you can put a little bit of lead on the hook and it'll sink down, and you could slash it this way, slash it this way. It's always random. So, just like a chatterbait, it hunts left and right, left, right, right. Just randomly, it just hunts left, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right. Jerkbait does something very similar, and it just makes all kinds of movements to trigger those bass, and you can get those bass dialed with this horizontal presentation. A jerkbait is awesome. Okay, we're gonna go into the last bait because my battery's dying, and hopefully it's still on right now. But yeah, we're gonna keep it short, and then we're gonna talk about, for the next episode, we're gonna talk about deflecting. Baits that deflect, that cause a reaction. Okay, so this is the drop, the horizontal, natural, and erratic movements, and then the deflection bites. Okay, so there's those 3 different ones. But my last horizontal presentation would be the chatterbait. Okay, this is the jackhammer. This is, I think this is 1/2 ounce right here, right? But I get 3/4, I get 1/2 ounce, and I get 3/8 most of the time. And what that does is hunts, like I was talking about the jerkbait. Jerkbait slashes horizontally on top of them. The chatterbait is more random. It does its own thing. You could reel it, speed reel it, and it kind of just hunts in different ways. You could slow roll it. You could pop it out of grass. The true benefit for the chatterbait, I believe personally, is fishing it in grass. So when you have sparse grass, you have grass lanes, and you're using your electronics, you cast down, not on top of a mat. I wouldn't fish this on top of a mat. That'd be kind of crazy. Fish this in grass lanes, sparse grass. And those bass that you can't see that are buried in that sparse grass, you could pop on top of that grass or pop it out and throw little twitches or reel really hard, speed crank it really hard so it flutters on top like that, cause a reaction, and you can get some of the bass triggered in the months that the grass is growing. So like for my lakes, the grass is growing right now, but it's not thick. It's very sparse. But when it gets matted up, let's just say end of May, or mid-May to June, when it gets matted up, this is what I'm tying on to get to those bigger bass in those grass lanes and sparse grass. Those are my confidence baits for the horizontal reaction. Next episode will be deflection. Deflection, okay, guys? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.